Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of Draft to Glory, all-out offense, and today we are ready to sim through another season here in the early stages of this series. Of course, things are looking all right for us, I would say, all things considered. Not perfect by any means, but the team is coming along quite nicely. This is the squad for this upcoming season, with Joakim Kamel on the top line next to Boris Nazarov and Alex Holtz, who's an 88. The second line, Jan Mizak, is alongside our number one pick from the past draft, Vyacheslav Grigorenko. Very intrigued to see what he can do. Talk about some of the players that we've missed out on by not getting a number one pick in the past, but still, despite him only being a medium elite, you look at that shooting category, he has the chance to be something special. Rudy Jovanovski is the other member of that, fucking damn it. I'm leaving this in. You know what? Normally I'd make a jump cut there. Screw it. I got tongue-tied. I was making a mistake. I'm leaving it. I'm only human. I'm sorry that I disappointed you and myself. Most importantly, I disappointed myself. Rudy Jovanovski is the final member of that second line, not the third line, and he's perhaps the most interesting member of that line, being a medium top six at 77 overall, 20 years old, for a second-round pick, a near first-round pick, let's be honest. But I am very excited for that second line. I think the top line, it's a guarantee to do well, but that second line could be a little bit surprising just how effective it could be, although Grigorenko and Jovanovski, the latter two there, aren't exactly a good fit for that second line. The third line is obviously where the quality starts to dip a little bit. You have Ruben Foss, the medium top 9 23-year-old, centered by Par Hedstrom, another medium top 9 player, and Isaac Benson, another interesting player, though, medium top 6 at 19 years old, 72 overall, again, in that spot, the first pick of the second round, much like Jovanovski. We've had luck there in the past couple of seasons. The fourth line, we have Maximus Clifford, the kaiju dog himself. That's right, I'm on board with that. Clifford the big red dog is a kaiju. I subscribe to that narrative. Francisco Gamble at the center spot and Andrew Hughes on the right. They make up the fourth line. Not a whole lot there in terms of hope and optimism that we're going to see drastic improvements. It's mainly the top 9 that we're focusing on, and the top 6 in particular. Defensively is it's a different story because it's awful. It is. We do have Jamie Doughty, although his development hasn't been great, and it's concerning at this point, although Zane Trafford has taken off like you would hope. They're both number 4 overall picks in the past. Second pairing, Ty Malone, next to Justin Marchand, meh, it's not great. And then Ola Enqvist with Jesse Cochran, who, I mean, he's a low elite, but it's not looking too good. So obviously our focus in the upcoming seasons will be to really, get this defense on track, but it's not really up to me because what am I going to do? If I end up with a medium top 6 forward or a medium top 6 defenseman, drastic difference between the two. Am I going to take the defenseman just because we need the defense, or am I going to take that top 6 option? If I don't take the top 6 option, people are going to rip me apart, perhaps rightfully so. There's just, we need a little bit of luck this year. The goaltender is Jan Bednar. Peter Kluchek is back as the backup goaltender for this season. So down in the AHL, we find Dmitry Sedikov and Brandon Higgins as our 1-2. Forward-wise, it's not great. You have Anton Heikkinen, Marko Nornin, the medium top 6. I was tempted to play him in the NHL. We're going to give him time in the AHL, though, for this season. And Nate Malone, who is okay. He's 22, though, so it's not looking that great. You have Zane Kang, Sergei Korobov, and Eddie Boyle, who's obviously not looking that great. You have Larry Cole, Brody Appleby, the big-time third-round steal. Appleby and Nornin are two of the more interesting players in the AHL to follow, as is Brandon Kapusta. So in terms of forwards, there are players here that might work out for us. Andre Palat not being one of them. Still love that that was a generated name, though. Defensively, it's a Finneganoff, who is a long shot to make it, but he might. And aside from that, it's a whole lot of nothing outside of Robinson Hurd, who's not even ours. So, yeah, there is some work to be done this season. Again, I wouldn't expect us to be anywhere near the playoffs, so because of that, I will be simming this entire season. I will talk to you guys at the end of it. We'll do our recap, and we will get to the draft. Although, let's take a look at what our overall ratings are for this year here. We'll sim to our first preseason game against the Florida Panthers, and let's see what we have. 81, 63, and a 77. Yeah, we still have some work cut out for us, don't we? All right, the season has come to an end. As expected, we were not very good. 23 wins on the year, 53 points in total. I expect that we were the worst team in the league, although that's not yet a guaranteed, or not yet a known fact, and it's certainly not a guarantee. The Tampa Bay Lightning won the Atlantic. Florida, Toronto, and Buffalo also made it. In the Metro, you had Philly, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. In the Central, Dallas, Nashville, Colorado, St. Louis, and Chicago all make it. And out of the Pacific, the Oilers, Coyotes, and Flames. That is a ridiculous point, differential, the separation between those three. It's pretty crazy. So the Flyers, the top team in the regular season, and we were the worst team. So that means fully expect us to get the number 4 overall pick, right? It's pretty much how it's going to go down. Joakim Kamel led this team in points, 59 points, 23 goals. Only 50 points for Alex Holtz, 49 for Nazarov. On the second line, you had Mizak with 46 points, 41 for Grigorenko, but 23 goals as a rookie. And then surprisingly, Andrew Hughes, 39 points, more than the 34 for Jovanovski, but 23 of his 39 points are on the power play. So that's pretty ridiculous. Benson with just 18 points. Perhaps a bit surprising that Gamble and Max Clifford did as well as they did. Defensively, Trafford killed it. 48 points, 24 points for Doughty, and then it really drops off from there. Goaltending-wise, season for Bednar. Really good season for Kluchek through 24 appearances with that .916 save percentage. Around the league, goaltending-wise, Carter Hart was the winningest goaltender. The shutout king was Jake Ottinger, and for save percentage, it's probably going to be Jake Ottinger who ends up winning the Vezina. If not him, Carter Hart, and that would be simply because of wins and fewer losses. For the rookies, because we're already here, it's going to be Brennan Othman. Jesus, 73 points, ridiculous separation from Ludwig Persson, who was the second highest point-producing rookie this season. Amongst defensemen, Morgan Riley and Quinn Hughes, 66 points each. Quite a few guys broke that 60-point barrier this season. And for forwards, only 3 players broke 100 points. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Mark Scheifele, who's now a Nashville Predator. Sidney Crosby was up there as well at 37 years old. Still can't believe Ovechkin retired as early as he did. The goal-scoring king, Nikita Kucherov, one of just 3 players to hit the 50-goal mark. So that really sums up what this season was. The regular season, at least, we will do what we always do. Let's sim to the end of the playoffs. We'll take a look at who won the Stanley Cup, how they did it. We'll take a look at the awards and go to our progress reports from there as we look ahead to this draft, where hopefully there will be at least a little bit of lottery luck. At least a bit. Top 2 would be great. Although, like I said, I am fully expecting us to have the 4th pick in the draft. Yet again, haven't looked at the draft class. So if we do end up with that number 1 overall pick, it could end up being nice. I mean, hell, another medium lead, I certainly couldn't complain. The Calgary Flames have won the Stanley Cup. Let's see how they got the job done 21 years after last appearing in the final, at least in real life, as they beat the Philadelphia Flyers. Wow, so Philly made it all the way to the final, only to fall short. They beat the Jackets, Penguins, and Panthers along the way. So close yet so far. The Springfield Thunderbirds, the least favorite AHL franchise of mine. They're the Portland Pirates, and they got moved because Springfield, Massachusetts is the home of the AHL headquarters. And when the original Springfield Falcons moved out west because of the AHL's western expansion, they said, well, let's take a different team and move them to Springfield. And they took my Pirates. They did. They took my team. But then I got the Maine Mariners, and that's fine. That's pretty good. Got a two sick-ass jerseys hanging in my closet right now because of that. So, yeah, that little tangent aside, at least you guys would have seen what this team looked like. It was Yaroslav Askarov leading the way for the Flames. Only an 83, though. A little bit lower than I would have expected. For the awards, so there you go. Tampa won it last year. Calgary wins it this year. Connor McDavid wins another Art Ross and another Hart Trophy. Morgan Riley wins the Norris, the Lady being the Braden Point. Rookie of the Year was Brennan Othman, of course. Conn Smythe to Stamkos. Ottinger wins the Vezina. The Jennings goes to Carter Hart. Marchant won the Masterton, as Jack Adams' award is awarded to the Gautier Leduc in Nashville. Now, here's the thing. In the last episode, I pointed out the reflections that I never noticed in the trophies before. I think someone was saying that the Jennings was the worst. Like, you can clearly see that for the Art Ross. And again, it was the Hart where I'm like, holy hell, look at that reflection. It's pretty evident on the Norris, too. Kind of noticeable on the Bing. It's a smaller trophy to begin with. Conn Smythe, you can't really notice it, so that's nice. Nor really can you with the Vezina. But yeah, the Jennings, you can just see a head-shaped reflection there. That's pretty sweet. And it looks like they took a picture of that Jack Adams award, or of the Jack Adams Award, in like a hallway. The Selke goes to Sasha Barkov. Connor McDavid wins the Ted Lindsay Award, and the Rocket Richard to Nikita Kucherov. Down in the AHL, I think after this, we'll probably stop tracking it for the most part, because it's going to be, for the, like I said, for the most part, computer-generated players outside of Julius Bergman winning the Defenseman of the Year award, and Konovalov was the top goaltender. Justice Anunin. It's a Finding Nemo reference, kids. That's a movie. That's there was a sequel, so I don't think that's completely lost yet. God, I hate that movie. I do, just because I have nieces and nephews that watched it on repeat, and I'm like, oh, God. It's just the worst. Anyway, lottery results. Come on, hey! We got the number one pick for 2 years in a row. Holy hell. Maybe our luck's turning around. The big question now, is there a franchise player here? Back-to-back, number one overall picks. We get Grigorenko last year. Who are we getting this year? Come on, franchise. Come on, franchise. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. We need to find out for sure what Terrell Montgomery is. I highly doubt he's an OFD. So it's likely to be Tokarski. What is up with the extreme amount of top-notch Germans in this run as opposed to the Twitch series? And then Spike Keeler, great name, is confirmed as well. Damn. Holy hell, look at all these frickin' top-notch German players. Should I, switch this series on the fly? What the hell? This is frickin' ridiculous. Player retirements. What do we have? Patrick Kane calls it a career, not a day. Taking shots at me, calling it a day. He retired as a Bruin with less than a point a game, which is shocking, as Bergeron retired as a member of the Manitoba Moose. Kopitar retired in the minors. Kessel ended his career as a San Jose Shark. Taves in Vegas to call it a career. Amongst the defensemen, you had Ryan Suter, Kevin Shattenkirk, Matt Niskanen, and Ryan McDonough. The best of them all, Michael Del Zotto. And for goaltenders, Tuukka Rask, at 38 years old, calls it a career. Pekka Rinne, Brian Elliott, and others are also gone. Will any of them become staff members? Probably not. Hasn't happened that often in these later years, and indeed, it doesn't happen this time either. So, when it comes to these reports, I need to know with certainty how good Axelson and Montgomery are, or what their player types are. So it sucks to have to use these interviews, since we only get 3, but I have to know for sure. And it was worth it because Axelson is a sniper. I'm assuming we basically already know everything else about him. And that was the big thing, is just what is his player type. So Torsten Axelson could be available to us, which is pretty nice. And, you know, had his strengths already been defined, there was a better way I could have handled that to really deduce whether or not he was a sniper already. And that's what I'm going to look at with Montgomery. Holy hell, please be an OFD. Great puck mover, shutdown ability. He's going to be a two-way. He's going to be a two-way, but I need to get that confirmation, because if he's an OFD, we take him immediately. We would have to. We need him so badly. Yes! Let's go! Holy hell, I was not expecting a 6'3" offensive defenseman, but that is exactly what Terrell Montgomery is, and he will be our #1 pick. It does not matter how good Torsten Axelson is, and oh my god, he's so good. But we need this defenseman so badly. Good god. Was it 2A pluses and A? Wow, he is the same. He might be slightly lower in overall than Axelson, but yeah, no doubt Terrell Montgomery's the pick. We have him confirmed as an offensive defenseman. He is our guy, no doubt about it. So from there, we can take a look at pick 32. Oh god. So like Radek Kolars is there. We know he's not even available to us though. Bryant McElrath, we know nothing about. Harvey Hewitt, we know nothing about. Glad to see our scouts are dropping the ball. Is there anybody with a really good set of attributes? Pete Trevelyan is okay. I'm not really seeing it. I know that there was that gem there. I was looking for someone with really good grades, and it just didn't happen. So is there anybody with a locked-in potential that's rather interesting? That guy's 6'5". Guarantee he's a power forward. That dude's a DFD. Jalen Harrison. I accidentally hit the Y button. And okay. I guess the Y button skips you ahead. I was going to look to see if that guy was an offensive defenseman. You know what? Regardless, we're going to move on. That really sucks. I just realized I didn't look at progress reports either. That's okay. We still have time. And the good thing is, before we do that, though, we get to have a pretty good moment as we thankfully get the defensive help that we desperately need. We're taking the Great Dane, Terrell Montgomery, out of Denmark. We needed this defenseman so badly. Played in Sweden this past year. He is the pick, no doubt about it. He is a 79 medium elite. I'm sure that forward was like an 82, 83, whatever. Doesn't matter. We needed this defensive help so badly. So literally, I don't care how good he is. He's an 82, as was Tokarski. We made the right choice. That is not debatable. We absolutely made the right choice. And what luck. I said I wanted to end up with a top 2 pick, and that was the only way we were getting this defenseman. We keep our #1 selection and end up getting a player that was so desperately needed. From here, though, is, of course, where it gets interesting because of just how little we know about a lot of these players. So Smoskowitz can be pinned. Suter can be pinned. Who else do we have here? A medium top 6 guy in Timofey Kavanaugh, who is definitely the top option. That guy's a confirmed DFD. Harrison, again, we'd know for sure, but I can't risk it now. 2-way, power forward, 2-way. There's a playmaker in Frederick Larson. We have a couple of options. The medium 9 in May. I think Bo Dietz we'd also take a look at. There's a bit of an assumption that he's probably a playmaker based on those player types, but that's a big risk. Hello, Peyton Friggin. Friggin. We could draft Friggin. I don't think I will. It's a bit of a risk when we already know that we have some medium top 6s. I was really hoping, hello, Chance Steckel. If he is available with that next pick, we'll take him. I was really hoping for a good defenseman. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and we're going to be taking a forward in this draft. No risks needed. It's Kavanagh or Larson. Kavanagh is likely... I mean, here's the thing. We're allowed to take him, right? Like I said, but Dietz, we draft him. He's not a playmaker or sniper. I get rid of him. Kavanagh, because we're under the assumption he's a sniper or a playmaker. Even if he was a two-way, we could change him. So, it's down to Kavanagh or Larson. And Kavanagh is going to have the better stats. There's no way he's not a playmaker. There's no way. You look at those strengths. You look at the ETA, the Claude Giroux comparison. We're going to take the Russian, Timofey Kavanagh, with this second-round pick. Let's get that confirmation. There you go. 65 overall playmaker, medium top 6 forward. A strong addition to the team. The question now is who the hell's available in the third round, and is that goalie going to be available, and just how good is he going to be? Travelien was a low 4. Pietrangelo would have been available. Järvinen wouldn't have been available. Harrison was a two-way, so we didn't miss out on much. If he was an offensive defenseman, that would have been very frustrating. But ultimately, we made the right choice. Larson was only a 59, so definitely the right call. Dietz did end up being a low elite, but like I said, we couldn't risk it. And friggin' was a medium 9. So we go to the third round. A little bit of pressure here. So Steckel is still available. Low top 6 playmaker, no thank you. There's a defenseman and Tristan Walter, but we can't really guarantee it, unfortunately. Maxwell Carjulio, I guess it would be. 4 years out. Interesting, but no real guarantees. You have McNeely, who is likely a two-way with the weaker passing ability. You have Arthur Sigalet, who, I mean, might be okay, but might not be. There's an OFD, but he's a low top 4, which is just a brutal potential. And with us seeing so few examples of someone going from a low potential to a medium, I don't really know if he's worth the risk. I don't think he is, to be honest. There's a medium 9 in Warren Regier, or Regier, I guess it would be Regier, who's decent but not great. Zacharias. You know, him being an offensive defenseman would make a whole hell of a lot of sense, but I'd be afraid that he was a medium 7th. But in all honesty, a medium 7th would be a decent player for us when it comes to defensemen in the system. Steven German is available as well. There's a low elite in Zubov. Offensive consistency being weak, I don't think he'll be what we need. Caden Pavelski, not going to trust that either. And we should just about be towards the list of players. Look, oh, could be amazing. There we go. I was going to say we should be towards the list of players that are projected to go in the next round. So quite a few options to sort through here. This is our first really tough pick of this draft. And again, we could go with the when in doubt, take a goaltender approach, or we try to hit with one of these two defensemen. And honestly, I think we can't take a forward. Bottom line, we can't take a forward. Even if they're decent. And honestly, Carjulio might be decent. 4 years out. Acker is 5. We need the draft for need on this one. So again, there are two goalies. Steckel, I do have a feeling, he's probably a medium elite. He might even be a high elite. He's 5 years out. Potential 4 years out for Legault. We have to take a defenseman. We have to. We have to draft for need. We have two decent medium starter goalies. This needs to work. So it's either the 6'3 German, or we take the risk with Zacharias. Zacharias would be a huge risk. And then German at least wouldn't be a risk. Although I have a feeling he is a two-way, based off of his height. Well, we're going to take the American, who did play in the Q. Steven German is going to be the pick. And we have to hope he's at least a medium 6. I don't want to see a low top 4. I mean, a medium 6 would be okay. like I said, it kind of sucks, but that's where we're at right now. We have to draft for need. So Steven German is going to be my pick, and he is a medium top 6 two-way. So again, allowed to keep him because he was appearing as an OFD. He's not great. You could tell by the way I was talking. I had a feeling he wasn't going to be great. There, case in point, I told you, I stated it clearly that I thought Steckel was going to be good, but you saw the defensive situation at the beginning of this episode. I had to go for it. And honestly, normally, a medium 6 feels like a gigantic swing and a miss. In this instance, like I said, he is one of our top prospects. Tambellini, as it turns out, might have been available, but I don't know if he was for sure, but he had a good potential to go up as a medium starter. And we'll take a look again at the defensive situation just to kind of recap just how bad it is. Like, that was a necessary pick. We have Trafford, we have Montgomery, and Doughty. Finnegan off 66 at 20 years old, still a bit of a long shot. Then you have Roberts, Cochran's a massive long shot, and then German. We need defensemen so badly. So I don't regret that pick at all, and it's likely that we'll make another selection here based off of need, and it's likely to be another defenseman, as Cools is all right. Rudy Molson would be a huge risk, so I don't think we'll go for him. Wayne McKee as a goalie, I'm good. Peter Melchar could be okay. But Esteban Segal, the Seagull, might be the better option. Brock Wheel is okay. A couple of DFDs, unfortunately. Andre Fedorov, a low 9 forward there. Cam Cutler might be that good. He might not be. If he was a confirmed elite, I'd go for it. Like, there's a little bit more there. I'm still leaning towards taking a defenseman, even if he is noticeably worse. Again, that's just something that we have to do. We just so desperately need this help. Braden Canzanello, unfortunately, there isn't too much here, though, from the looks of it. So I really don't regret that last choice of a defenseman because of how few options we have in this particular round. So we have Melchar, Cools, Siegel, Richard, or Richard, with him being from the Q, Cutler, and Canzanello. Again, one of these two might be really good. I can't do it. I need defense. Or we take Cam Cutler if we think he's going to be really good. Which I wouldn't be surprised if he is really good. I'll call that timeout here. Again, if we look at the defense and goaltending situations right now, because forward-wise, we're likely to be okay. You factor in, if everybody here makes it, we're going to be all right. We have a lot of medium top 6 guys. I think it's going to be okay. Goaltending-wise, we do have Castles that we picked up last year, so there's at least somebody. And we have 4 medium starter goalies, 2 of which are still pretty solid, all things considered, especially in this game where you see a lot of 79 to 81 rated goalies finding success in the playoffs. That top 4 might be pretty strong at one point, but the more sure things, the better. So I don't think we're going to take Cam Cutler, even though I love the alliteration. We're going to go for a defenseman. It's just a matter of which one out of the 3. Let's take a look. We have Esteban Segal, who is probably terrible. All of them are 5-year ETAs. In terms of the stats, there's not much to go off of. The one thing about Siegel or Segal is that there are no defined strengths, so I don't believe he's going to be a medium elite. Cesar Arachard put up some points. His grades are looking a little bit better. I don't think he's an offensive defenseman, but it says OFD, so we have the go-ahead to make this happen. We're going to take Cesar Arachard out of the QMJHL, medium 7th. Shit. needed a little bit better luck there. Again, the sad reality is that they're okay, and damn it. That hurts. He's a really low overall, but obviously a little bit more optimistic to see a low overall medium elite than a medium 7th. So, yeah, that pick didn't go well. That pick did not go well. Cutler was a high starter. Very interesting. But, I mean, I know again that there was a little bit more to make one think that, you know, that Seagal could be a medium elite. It wasn't like one step away from being confirmed. So, it is what it is, unfortunately. Again, you're not going to hit with every single pick that you make. It's just not how that works. But obviously, it sucks to miss out there. There's a sniper here. Again, I could look at a bunch of these guys and be like, oh, okay, am I certain? But I don't think I'd take the risk in hoping that they are a different player type than what it's showing up for them. So we'll pin all the players that we technically qualify for. And we'll see who the best of the bunch is. Although, I gotta be honest, it's not looking too good. So Tuomo Koko is a great name. But again, I'm not feeling it. That guy's close to being a medium bottom 6. Not feeling it. Commodore. Sean Commodore, the overager. You have Mason Nueve, who is probably better than Commodore. Then we get into a defenseman, Ole Jensen, who might be worth it as bad as that is. I'd rather take him than Kwong. You also have Hugo Beauregard. Great name, probably not a great player. Cheval Dave. Could be okay. And then Laflamme, who is also okay, but nothing special. So, not looking too good for us here, I gotta be honest. My son Nueve with the B's and mostly C's. He was better than Cheval Dave. And then we have these two defensemen. One is an overager, one is 18. Beauregard's 6'6". There's the 6'6". There's no way he's an OFD. So we go for Rafael Maisonneuve, or we take the risk with Ole Janssen. And we're going to go for Ole Janssen. Just try like hell to get this to work for us. It's another medium 7th defenseman, which again, in most series, is a gigantic swing and a miss for us. But you look at the last 3 defensemen that we've added in this draft, it's a sad statement, but it's a true statement. It bolsters the depth. The severe lack of depth that this franchise is currently suffering from. So we're trying to make the best of a fairly poor situation. That's why getting that defenseman with the first overall pick was so crucial for us. It's because, you know, the depth in these drafts has been pretty damn poor. So these are the 4 options. I do want to sort by potential as well, just to see if there's anybody. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's the case. You have Tarky, you have Svret, and a whole bunch of nothing from there. Stu Powell, I'd rather have a medium 7th than a low top 4 defenseman. They end up being about the same in my experiences. So let's see who we have here out of all these pin players. We have 2 defensemen. There's also the 19-year-old Tarky, who looks horrible. Gilroy looks a little bit better. Cheval Dave, again, was like straight C's. And then Savret is okay. It comes down to Cheval Dave as a forward or one of these 2 defensemen. Did I re-add Gilroy? Guess I didn't take him out. So there's Raleigh. The 18-year-old, they're both 18, or Landon Lucic. C's and 2 D's. It would be Raleigh. It's Raleigh or Cheval Dave. I'm not digging it for either one. I don't think either are actually the player type that is currently showing up. But again, we need help. It's going to be Derek Rowley of the Barrie Colts. And he is actually a low 6. So that's the first pick where I'm like, well, that's a player that's never going to make it for us. And he's not. Again, that potential this year is absolutely horrific. Or at least has been for me. Maxim Bobkoff, not that good. And a confirmed butterfly goalie. What else do we have here? Terrell Dixon was very mediocre. Who else do we have? Ethan Finnerty. Not much to go off of there, though. Anybody else? Anybody at all? A whole lot of two-ways. Now we're drifting towards not getting drafted territory. And a lot of players who simply aren't that good. There's Tarky again. I was really hoping that guy's name was Homer. That would have been amazing. Not the case, unfortunately, against Sevrett, also available. Yeah, it's going to be the guys at the top of this draft. So, probably go with one of the two between Tarky or Sevrett. Sevrett has confidence. That's good to know. That's good to know. Let's take the risk. Let's go for Antoine Sevrett of the Rimouski Oceanic, who is very mediocre. So, you look at this draft, certainly not the strongest one that we've ever had. Placed a lot of emphasis on trying to draft defensemen without a lot of evidence, and it didn't pay out for the most part. I mean, we end up with Montgomery, so there's a potential solid top 4 there, and then there's a lot of guys where it's like, okay, please just maybe be something. But overall, it's not looking all that great. But like I said, we were pretty limited in terms of the options that we had available to us. A lot of those forwards, there was no real guarantee. So I think if there was a draft to take a shot and hopefully get those defensive improvements onto this team, it was this year. A few more medium 7s as opposed to medium 6s that I would have liked to have ended up with. But again, there's only so much you can do. So goaltending-wise, this is again the situation right now with Bednar, Sadikov, and Kluchek. Although, we're likely to see changes because Estells and Rice Miller have to be signed. So as much as I hate to say it, I think we try to let Sadikov and Higgins go as RFAs and hopefully get something for them. I doubt it, but that's the plan, because I think it's going to be Bednar, Kluchek, Estells, and Rice Miller as far as the goalies are concerned. And then you have Lyke in the system, who might not ever make it, but it's what we're looking at. Montgomery will be signed, and then you can see it. Unless there's some good defensive improvements, it's still going to be weak. Afinogenov is going to be an NHLer next year, which is nice, but we have a long way to go towards making that core better. Forward-wise, though, still pretty damn strong. You look at Jovanovski up to a 78 now. There was some decent improvement. Some of these guys, Noren and Benson, that will be filling up the bottom 6. Appleby will probably put in the NHL next year. Kavanaugh, who we ended up with, it's coming together, but obviously we still have some work to do, and we still need some luck on our side if we're going to turn this team into a contender in a timely fashion.